Hi, welcome to the channel. So today we are comparing WordPress versus Squarespace. Which one is suitable for your business or the kind of websites that you intend to build for your clients? This is part of a series that I'm doing, which is Introduction to Web Design. And I've done already 2 videos on that series. The first one was how to become a web designer in 2025. And the second one was fundamentals of web design, which we did last week. And today we are doing a comparison. We want to pick a platform so that before we move forward, we know which platform you're using. So we're going to pick a platform today after we've compared and looked at the various comparison points, looked at the ease of use, flexibility, pricing of each of these platforms, and then decide which platform is suitable for your business. My name is Billian Gadi. I'm a web designer, I'm a copywriter, and I'm also an SEO expert. So I create content surrounding these topics, that is web design, copywriting, SEO, and a touch of lifestyle content. So if that's something that would interest you and you'd love to learn how to design websites or just chill with me on the chill days, then you can hit the subscribe button so that whenever I drop a video, you are notified. You can also connect with me on Instagram, which is wholesomely.billian, on TikTok, wholesomely.billian, and also on Facebook. I do a bit of content there as well, so we can connect and create a community. But let's get to it. Okay, so this is the thing. I've used WordPress for a while now. It's what I've been using, and it's what I started using, and I use it for most of my projects. However, I've done also a few projects using Squarespace, and I've seen the different comparison points. So you might find that Squarespace has more points than WordPress or vice versa, but that does not mean that WordPress is the suitable choice for your website or Squarespace is the suitable choice for your website. It just narrows down to the kind of websites you want to build or for the kind of business that you're running. So let's start with the number one difference, and that's ease of use. So if you're a business person who has a short time to learn how to design a website and you want to launch that website quickly, then Squarespace is the place to go. Okay, because Squarespace is really easy to learn. It's mostly template, and you can go on the platform, create an account, and actually create your website within a few hours, and your website will be up because it's mostly drag and drop, and it's also mostly templates. On the other hand, WordPress is a bit of a learning curve. You'd have to learn a number of things. You'd have to learn hosting, the plugins, how to set up themes, how to use the builders like Elementor. So WordPress will take you a bit of time to understand, as opposed to Squarespace, which is super easy to create an account and launch. So the next point of comparison is flexibility and customization. And when you come to this, WordPress wins over Squarespace. So in as much as WordPress has a bit of a learning curve, after you've learned it, there's so much that you can achieve with a WordPress website as compared to Squarespace. Okay, so WordPress has tools which are called plugins. So with these plugins, you can achieve so much. There are different plugins for different features that you need on your website. So whichever feature you want, there's usually a plugin for it, and that makes it really flexible and makes it possible to achieve so much with a WordPress website. On the other hand, Squarespace has templates, and sometimes the layout of the website is dependent on the theme that the template was built using. Okay, so you might be very limited to what you can move where and the customizations that you can do on a Squarespace website. The third one is design freedom, and this means what can you do with a WordPress website and a Squarespace website. So the third one is design freedom. And obviously, WordPress will take this because we've talked about flexibility and customization in the last point. And because it's very flexible, then you have so much freedom in how you can design your website. Squarespace has very beautifully designed templates that you can use to create your website. However, sometimes you're very limited and you don't have that much design freedom, and that means there's not much customization. So when it comes to design freedom, Squarespace has very beautiful templates, very clean and beautiful templates. However, there's not much freedom in customizing them. On the other hand, Elementor has a wide array of the things that you can do, and it gives you a lot of freedom. Okay, so the third one is performance. Which platform builds the fastest websites? Okay, so with Squarespace trumps WordPress here, because with Squarespace, it's done automatically. Squarespace automatically optimizes its websites so that they load faster. Even things like images, they automatically optimize the images. On the other hand, WordPress needs a bit of effort. You'll have to use speed plugins and image optimizers for you to actually achieve a faster website. Okay, so Squarespace wins here because it's automatically done, and you won't have to do much to optimize the speed. WordPress, you'll have to put in the effort before you achieve a faster website. So the next one is blogging, and this one would go to WordPress. The reason why it would go to WordPress is because WordPress was created originally to be a blogging platform. And that means it has several features that support blogging. It has things like categories, it has tags, It has plugins that support SEO, it supports scheduling. All these put together will help you have a better blogging experience, especially if you're creating a website that will be blogging intensive and will need a lot of blogging. Then WordPress would be the better choice. On the other hand, Squarespace has a blogging module. However, it lacks advanced features like taxonomies or content filters or custom post types. So if you're going with an intensive blogging website, then WordPress has a lot of features to support that. If you're going with a simple blogging website that is not very intensive, then the module on Squarespace is enough to support that. The next comparison point, I don't know which number this is now, but the next comparison point is e-commerce functionality. Now, each of these has an e-commerce functionality. So Squarespace has a built-in e-commerce, which is easy to use and also very suitable for small stores. So if you're maybe just a small salon selling products or a boutique, then Squarespace has the features to support that. On the other hand, WordPress has WooCommerce, which is a plugin. With WooCommerce, you can create an e-commerce website. Okay, so each of these has their uses. If you have a small store, then you could go with Squarespace because it's already designed and you won't have to do a lot of customization. If you have a big store which needs a lot of customization, then WordPress has so many features that you can customize specific to the products that you have. So Squarespace for the small stores, it's simple, it's very easy and easy to upload your products. WordPress for bigger stores if you want a lot of customization on your products. The next one, let's talk about SEO capabilities, and this one goes hand in hand with the blogging capabilities. So because WordPress has a lot of plugins, it has plugins like Rank Math, Yoast SEO. They help you and they give you full control over the kind of optimization that you can do. So they allow you to do things like schema markups, sitemaps. Squarespace has built-in SEO features. Okay, so you can add things like SEO titles, meta descriptions, SSL. So WordPress has a number of plugins. Within these plugins, you can get SEO plugins, that is the likes of Rank Math and Yoast SEO. So with these plugins, you have a lot of control over the kind of optimization you can do in terms of the metadata, in terms of sitemaps, schema markups. You have a lot of control that you have a lot of control as far as SEO is concerned with WordPress. But with those plugins, you'll have to do a few setups first before now the plugins are impactful. With Squarespace, you have a built-in SEO feature, and it allows you to include things like SEO title, SEO description, and SSL. And this sometimes is always enough. However, when you want to now go the extra mile with SEO, you find that Squarespace is a bit limiting. Okay, so with WordPress, you have plugins that you'll need to do a bit of settings, and then after doing the settings, then you have a lot of control in how you want your SEO to be. Squarespace is pretty simple and pretty easy. However, you could be limited to the kind of optimization that you can do on your SEO. Okay, so another comparison point is maintenance and updates. How often and how much maintenance do you need to do on either of the platforms? Now, Squarespace takes it on this because with Squarespace, you don't have to do any updates. You don't have to do any maintenance. Once you create the site, Squarespace will automatically update your website for you, making it pretty easy, and you may not need to always go on your dashboard updating things. On the other hand, with WordPress, you'll have to do the maintenance on your own and manually. So every time you have to go check the plugins, whichever one that has a new version, you have to update it. So the updating is just clicking update and then it will update. At least every week, you have to be on your dashboard updating your plugins, because if you don't do that, then your website might be vulnerable to attacks. So if you have a WordPress website, then you have to regularly check the plugins and then update the ones that need updating. The second last point, that is mobile responsiveness. Let's start with Squarespace, which is super responsive, and most of the templates, actually all the templates, have been created to be responsive and usable on different devices. Okay, so if you create your website or you customize your website on desktop, then you will need very few, if any, customization for it to look good on a mobile phone. On the other hand, with WordPress, especially if you're using Elementor, there are you'll have to do customization for it to be responsive and usable on different devices. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying they both win is because while Elementor you have to do customizations on your own, it also has more features. For instance, you can hide some sections or elements on WordPress. Okay, so let's say you've created a website and there's a section that you don't want to appear on your tablet or on your phone or on your computer, on your desktop. You can actually hide it so that it appears on the devices that you want it to appear. On the other hand, Squarespace, you can't do that unless you're using CSS code. Okay, so unless you know CSS code, that's when you can hide some elements not to appear in different devices according to how you want it. The last one is pricing. Now, pricing is a bit tricky because now you'll use different tools. Okay, so let's start with WordPress. With WordPress, you need hosting, you need a theme builder. For me, I use Elementor, and then you need hosting as well separately, and you'll need domain. Squarespace, on the other hand, you just pay one price, and if you're getting a domain with them, then on the first year you'll do $12, and then the second year you'll be doing $20 going forward. Okay, so let's look at the prices of WordPress. WordPress is free. If you're using a theme builder, let's say Elementor in this case, then that's $84 a year. And then now we have hosting. So I use Hostinger. Okay, so if you're using Hostinger, then it's $152. Now we're not talking about the first year, we're talking about the second year going forward, because the first year mostly you'll find discounts and deals and everything. So we're talking about the second year going forward. Okay, so the second year of hosting, you'll pay $152. For Elementor, you'll pay $84, and then buy a domain. So let's say domain is $20, the same as if you're buying it on Squarespace. If you add all those, it comes to $256. On the other hand, Squarespace has different plans. Now there's the $16 per month plan, there's $23 per month plan, and then there's other plans. So these two are the most likely that you'll use, especially if you're starting or you just need a simple website. The first one is $16 per month. However, this is limited. But if you want to get features almost similar to what you're getting if you're using WordPress plus Elementor, then you're going to go with $23. Because now on $23, you can sell products. So if you're going for an e-commerce, then you'd probably go for the $23. However, if you're going for a basic service-based website, then you could go with the $16 per month. So with Squarespace, it will depend on the kind of website you're creating. If you're creating a service-based business, then you can go with the $16 per month package. That's their personal package, and it does not come with an e-commerce feature. So you can't sell products there, and there are also shipping features that are missing on that package. Okay. However, if you're going for an e-commerce, then you'll have to get the $23 per month package, which also allows you to sell products. Okay, so let's say you're going with the $16 per month, 16 by 12, that is $192. And then now if you add domain, which is $20, that brings it to $212. Now, if you're going with the $23 per month, then you're going to spend $276. So it actually depends on your needs. If you're going with an e-commerce website, then you'd probably spend more on Squarespace than you're spending on WordPress. But if you're going with a service, if you have a service-based website, then you'll probably spend less on Squarespace than you're spending on WordPress. So that's pretty much it. So we've looked at ease of use, we've looked at design flexibility, blogging, SEO tools, pricing, e-commerce, maintenance and updates, performance, and mobile responsiveness. Okay, so ease of use, that's Squarespace. Design flexibility and customization, WordPress takes it here. Blogging and SEO tools, WordPress takes it here. Pricing, that depends on the kind of website you're building. At some point, if you're building an e-commerce store, then if you're using Squarespace, you'll spend more than what you're spending on WordPress. But if you're building a service-based website, then you'll probably spend less on Squarespace than you're spending on WordPress. You have e-commerce, both of them has e-commerce, and it depends on the kind of store you want to build. If it's a big store, then WordPress takes it there. If it's a smaller store, then Squarespace is suitable for that. We've looked at maintenance and updates, where Squarespace has taken it because its maintenance and updates are done automatically and you don't have to lift a finger, as opposed to WordPress, which you have to maintain manually. We've also looked at performance, and Squarespace has taken it here because it's automatically optimized with the images and the speed and everything. It's automatically optimized, and that means their websites will be faster than WordPress unless you use plugins to optimize your website on WordPress. So Squarespace takes it on speed. Then we have mobile responsiveness, which was kind of a draw because because each of them had benefits. Squarespace is automatically mobile friendly, or you'll have to do just a few customizations. WordPress, on the other hand, you'll have to do a lot of customization. But with WordPress, you have additional feature, which is to hide sections, as opposed to Squarespace, which if you want to do that, you'll have to use CSS code. So they sort of tied there. So the bottom line is, in as much as you can see WordPress ticked more compared to Squarespace, that really does not determine if you should go with WordPress or Squarespace. What determines this is the kind of business you're running and the kind of website you want to create. So let me give you examples of the different websites that are suitable for each of these platforms. So Squarespace is suitable for small For small businesses that don't have too much requirements, you just want a simple and clean online website that can showcase your products or showcase your services. So the kind of businesses that this is suited for are like solopreneurs. If you want a portfolio website, if you have a small store like a salon or a boutique, for a small restaurant, if you're a coach or a consultant, and even event planners if you don't do a lot of bloggings. So this is it: event planners, photographers, videographers, portfolio websites, consultants, and maybe coaches, small restaurants and cafes. For those, Squarespace is very suitable, and it will give you a very clean and easy to use website. So for WordPress, it's suitable for businesses that are looking to scale and want to create more customized websites. So platforms like law firms, real estate agencies, marketing agencies, blogging websites. If you have an e-commerce that has a lot of customization requirements, the products, you have to customize the information on it, and like there's a lot of modifications and customizations that you have to do on your e-commerce, then WordPress is also a good idea. So decide which kind of business you have or which kind of businesses you want to create websites for, and then now decide. But the bottom line is it depends on your needs. What kind of website do you want to create? So I hope this helped in a way. I hope now you've cleared your mind and you've decided this is the website I want to use. Going forward, the next step on our series was to learn by doing. And to do that, we'll be creating something on WordPress, and then we'll also be creating something on Squarespace. So I want to do this in 2 different videos so that you're not confused. So the following video could be on WordPress or Squarespace, but we'll be creating something, probably just a homepage to understand the interface. We'll be looking at the settings on the platform. We'll be looking at the platform. We'll be looking just at the overall interface, and then create something so that you're familiar with the interface. Okay, so that's basically it. And I hope by now you've already decided WordPress is suitable for you or Squarespace is more suitable for you. Okay, and I hope this really helped. If it did, I would love to hear that. You can mention that in the comment section, or if it's still unclear, then you can write down the kind of business you're running or you want to create a website for, and then I'll advise on the kind of platform that's suitable for that. Be sure to mention the features you want to include, because if you say an e-commerce store, then I want to know which kind of e-commerce store do you want to create. If this is a kind of video that you enjoy and you'd love to see more, then you can hit the subscribe button. And then when I upload more of this series and more videos on the channel, you'll be notified and you can watch them. I loved creating this one again, and I hope to see you on the next. And thank you so much for being here. And remember, you only lose when you quit, so don't quit. See you on the next. Bye.